Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and welcome back to my MrBucsNation mock draft 2.0. I know that we're using the webcam here. I don't have my other camera. It is somewhere else at the moment, but I still wanted to get this mock draft out for you guys. I haven't done one in about 2.5 weeks now, so we are here yet again doing another mock draft. Again, I don't have the draftnetwork.com up, but I did use their big board and their website to help me make the picks that I have listed for you guys today. So, without further ado, let's get started. Pick number 32 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have them going with a player there's been a lot of buzz about recently among Bucs fans, and that player is Travis Etienne, running back out of Clemson. 5'10", 5'10", 210 pounds. And I mean, man, what can you say about this guy that hasn't already been said? He is an all-around phenomenal running back. He did not declare last year for the NFL draft. A lot of people were shocked about that. He declared this year because, of course, he had to, and he's one of the top guys in the draft. I also know that there have been some other people that the Buccaneers fans have been clamoring for, but around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick, Travis Etienne is probably more likely to be there than, say, Najee Harris out of Alabama. I'm a big fan of his as well, but Travis Etienne is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking. And I know you're going to say, whoa, James, you're a big Ronald Jones guy. Why do you have the Buccaneers taking a running back? Well, with these mock drafts, I try and be realistic while also throwing some of my own thoughts and opinions in there as well. But I do try and be realistic. And realistically speaking, the Buccaneers could be in the market for a running back at pick number 32, depending on who is available. And if Travis Etienne is available, I think the Buccaneers would be hard-pressed to pass on him. I really do believe that. Again, big Ronald Jones guy. I think he is a very good running back, a starting caliber running back in my opinion. Leonard Fournette, who has not re-signed with the team. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but he's also a good running back as well. But Travis Etienne is more balanced, I think, than both those guys. He's a great runner, as is Jones and Fournette and some of the other guys the Buccaneers have on this group of running backs, Vaughn. But Etienne adds that other level as a receiving back, something that Jones hasn't shown that much. He's improving, but still hasn't shown to be an all-around complete back. Same with Leonard Fournette. Both Jones and Fournette, in my opinion, are both very similar as receiving backs in terms of their quality, and that's around an average level. And then Vaughn, we just don't know right now. But Travis Etienne can do it all. He really can. He's a phenomenal runner. He's a great receiving back. He can do everything you want him to do. And I think pairing this man, Travis Etienne, up with Tom Brady and all the weapons that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have on offense, I think would be absolutely phenomenal. So Travis Etienne, running back out of Clemson, is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having with their first round draft pick. In the second round, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the defensive side of the football, taking Jay Tufili, interior defensive lineman out of USC. 6'3", 315 pounds, much like what I said about Christian Barmore in my last mock draft. The same things can be said for Jay Tufili in this mock draft. The dude's an absolute big beast of a defensive lineman, and he's insanely athletic. He is explosive, he's athletic, he is good in run defense and in pass rushing as well. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not re-signed Ndamukong Suh right now as of the recording of this video. I still think they will bring him back. But if they don't, Jay Tufili could be a guy who could be a starting caliber 3-down defensive lineman right away for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Either A, replacing Ndamukong Suh, or B, potentially replacing Will Gholston, who could be a cap casualty. Those are two guys who I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Jay Tufili would be replacing, either Suh or Gholston, depending on, if Suh comes back or not, or if Suh does come back, maybe they want to move on from Gholston, get younger at that other defensive end position, and save a little bit of money in the process. Jay Tufili is a starting caliber defensive lineman, in my opinion, and having him and Vita Vea alone there would be dynamic and amazing. But then you incorporate in, Ndamukong Suh potentially being a part of that rotation. Maybe they honestly just draft J2 Feely and still have Will Golston as a part of that rotation, and Nacho as well, who the Buccaneers just re-signed to a 2-year deal worth $5 million. I mean, the Buccaneers defensive line would be absolutely stacked at that point, and I would be all here for it. So J2 Feely, defensive lineman out of USC, is my second round draft pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In round number 3, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting an edge defender, again on the defensive side of the football, picking Quincy Roche, edge rusher out of Miami. This man is 6'3", 243 pounds. His ideal scheme fit is as a rush linebacker, a 3-4 outside linebacker, which is good because that's what he spent a lot of his time in Miami doing. So, checks out. The Buccaneers do need depth at the edge rushing position. They did just re-sign Shaq Barrett to a long-term deal. I'm all here for that. Jason Pierre-Paul, he is on the last year of his contract. Anthony Nelson, while he has been good, the Buccaneers could always use more depth at that edge rusher position. Quincy Roche, I think, would be a solid developmental guy, and him and Anthony Nelson could potentially hop in to that kind of starting type role, depending on what happens with Jason Pierre-Paul after next season. So overall, I think it would be a very solid move. I think he's got the size. I think he's got the ability. He went to a very good defensive school in Miami, and I think that everything would just work out pretty well in terms of getting Quincy Roche on the team, having him develop behind Jason Pierre-Paul, behind Shaq Barrett, and then maybe Quincy Roche in the next year or two could be the other starting edge rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So that is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in round number 3 of this mock draft. In round number 4, this is where things get a little bit interesting. Right now, as it stands, things might be a little bit uniform, what other outlets have been saying and whatnot, but I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting an offensive tackle in round number 4, pick number 137, and that offensive tackle is Walker Little out of Stanford. This dude is a big mountain of a man. 6'7", 309 pounds. You heard that right. 6'7", and he projects to be an eventual starting NFL left tackle, and his scheme fit is a vertical passing game offense. Where does that sound familiar? But right now, as it stands, Walker Little, this dude's an absolute beast. He's smart. He can identify certain things with edge defenders and defensive linemen, just pass rushers as a whole. Walker Little has been good to identify certain things that are going along with the defensive line. He's very good in pass coverage, still needs a little bit of work in terms of run blocking, but his pass coverage has overall been very good. He's obviously got the size and the length that you would want in a prototypical starting caliber NFL lineman, let alone left tackle. I mean, he's like old school starting size for left tackles. He's a beast. I love this dude's size, and I love his ability. But the reason I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting him in the 4th round is because it says eventual starting NFL left tackle, a developmental guy who will, potentially be a starter. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have Donovan Smith on the last year of his contract. I know some people have been clamoring for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to re-sign him. Well, that's not just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' decision as well. Donovan Smith could decide he wants to go into free agency and just completely cash out and get some insane big deal. That may be something that ends up happening because, he just came off of a Super Bowl win. The Buccaneers are expected to do good in this upcoming season as well. If he wins 2 Super Bowls in 2 years and he's a starting left tackle, he's going to get some good money. He really is. And, I've eaten crow on Donovan Smith already multiple times. There is a chance that they could lose him in free agency come next season. The Buccaneers have a lot of people to pay next offseason. So Walker Little would be some type of insurance to say, hey, we've got a really big developmental dude who looks really good as a pass blocker, and, we've been working with him for a full year. Now he might be able to slot in that starting left tackle spot. That's what you'd be getting with Walker Little, and I'd be all here for it. Having him come in, just this big dude who's already had a year to develop behind a really good offensive line and had a lot of good mentors with him and a good coaching staff as well. Having the GOAT doesn't hurt either. I think that this would be a really good slam dunk pick for the Buccaneers to make if they do make it, even like a very, low-key dark horse pick for potentially best pick for this draft if he does go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have that much confidence in Walker Little, man. I think he can be a really huge asset to any team who takes him. Hopefully it might be the Bucs. We'll see. But Walker Little, offensive tackle out of Stanford, is who I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting in the 4th round. In round number 5, again, this is where it gets a little bit controversial. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a wide receiver, specifically Jalen Darden, wide receiver out of North Texas. 5'9", 170 pounds. He is expected to have a role of a featured slot receiver and kick returner, and his scheme fit is a spread offense. Again, kind of fits what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing. And I know people are going to say, whoa, James, a wide receiver. What are you talking about, man? Listen, right now as it stands, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not re-signed Antonio Brown. I'm still 50-50 as to whether or not Antonio Brown will return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but even if he doesn't, you still need a 6th guy on this roster who could handle kickoffs and punt returns. Darden has 2 years of experience with North Texas being a return man for them, which could be very good for Jalen Darden in terms of getting special teams playing time. And also, I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do have a lot of guys who are able to make returns. Jadon Mickens, TJ Logan, who is not with the team yet, although I do expect him to re-sign at some point down the line. But they do have other guys who can return, Scotty Miller as well. I just think Jalen Darden could be that dude. He could be that return dude. You wouldn't have to risk putting any of your starters or high-tier role players out there. He could start off as a special teams guy, and then a couple of years down the line, he'll get some potential, playing time in the future. This isn't necessarily a pick that'll be a super big impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in his first year, because Chris Godwin's still under contract, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Mike Evans, maybe even Antonio Brown as well. These are all guys that are still there, but Chris Godwin, he may go into free agency after this year. You also have Scotty Miller, whose contract is running up relatively soon. Antonio Brown's obviously still a question mark. So this could be a move that could benefit the Buccaneers in the next couple of years. Have Jalen Darden be a returner for the Buccaneers for maybe his first year, and then slowly start to work him into the offense in the next year or two, and maybe he'll have some, starting, high-tier role player type role in the future, towards the end of his rookie contract, maybe in year 3 and year 4, maybe he starts to get some more playing time on offense, things like that. But with that being said, Jalen Darden is my Tampa Bay Buccaneers 5th round draft pick number 176. In round number 6, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Grant Stewart, linebacker out of Houston, pick number 217 in the 6th round. Grant Stewart, I think I said Stewart. Grant Stewart, 5'11", 230 pounds. His scheme fit is for a 3-4. His ideal role is a special teams ace and a short yardage linebacker. Right now as it stands, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have a few guys behind, Levante David, Devin White, and Kevin Minter, but Jack Sitchie is not on the team right now. If they were looking to replace his play on special teams and just have a good backup linebacker, Grant Stewart could be that dude. Phenomenal run defender, as a linebacker. Absolutely phenomenal run defender. Grant Stewart is a great run defense linebacker, which is good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. He doesn't offer much as a pass coverage linebacker, but that could always change. Larry Foote is a great linebackers coach in my opinion, and he'd be learning from Devin White, and he'd be learning from Levante David, and he'd be learning from Kevin Minter. Those are 3 very solid veteran linebackers that Grant Stewart could be learning from. So I think the pass coverage skills could develop with time. The run defense is already great, so I think that would be an ideal role for him. He already has over 500 snaps as a special teams player, so he could just fit right into that role as well. I think that much like what I said in the case of Jalen Darden a moment ago, Grant Stewart could be that guy who works in as a special teams player at first, and then more as the years go on, he starts to get involved with the defense. Maybe you have him in for a few plays on goal line situations his rookie year on defense, but then more time evolves. He gets more and more playing time with the defense as a whole, but he's always there as that special teams player because he's a special teams ace. I mean, the Buccaneers could always use high-tier special teams players. They just lost Ryan Smith as well. Kevin Minter, I know he's the special teams captain, but he's not getting any younger, so I think Grant Stewart would just be a good long-term investment for the Buccaneers as well. That's who I have them selecting in the 6th round of this mock draft. And finally, guys, for the last pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a quarterback. Specifically, I have them selecting Kevin Thompson, quarterback out of Washington. 6'1", 205 pounds. He worked in a spread offense at Washington, and he showed very good ability to move the chains, get yards, and make some throws. Now, there are some cons to his game. He doesn't have the ideal measurables for a quarterback, but we have seen those measurables, the ideal prototypical quarterback mold be proven wrong a handful of times here in the NFL. There also is some concerns with his arm strength being average, but he's a highly productive statistics type of quarterback. He is able to move the ball. He's got very good accuracy, and the offense was very beneficial in terms of getting guys open for Kevin Thompson, and he made all the throws that he needed to make for the offense to work. He does excel in short to intermediate areas. They haven't necessarily tested him that much in terms of deep throws at Washington, but I think that again could be developed with time. Again, he would have a phenomenal group of guys around him. Blaine Gabbert, if they decide to bring him back, the GOAT, Tom Brady, and then Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, Clyde Christensen, among other people in this Buccaneers organization who could help Kevin Thompson just develop his skills as a quarterback. Again, the size isn't there necessarily, but I think Kevin Thompson could be a very good developmental quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to have. I've said this before in previous videos, but I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably won't bring back Ryan Griffin. I think I could see a quarterback room of Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, and then a developmental quarterback. I think Kevin Thompson could be that developmental quarterback. Is he a little bit smaller? Yes, technically, but again, we've seen that narrative get more and more exposed as the years have gone on with quarterbacks coming out of the NFL draft. I think Kevin Thompson could be a very good guy. He's got the accuracy. I think that his game can be developed and polished very well. I think he's got all the intangibles that you would want in a developmental type quarterback, and I think it could work. So Kevin Thompson is who I have with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7th round draft pick. And with that being said, guys, that's the end of this mock draft. I think this was a good one overall. I think I covered a lot of good areas and key positions for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got them depth in a lot of areas, got them a couple of starters as well, and overall I'm very happy with it. So leave me your thoughts about this mock draft down in the comments section below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Leave your mock drafts down in the comments section below and give me your thoughts. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.